Okay, I'm glad that I'm able to be here again with you guys, even though I'm not here. Please make sure that you're respectful to Mr. Ayers, and you do the right thing and represent yourself and our school well. If you choose not to, then we will have that conversation when I get back. So please make sure that does not need to be a thing. Um, on the board, on the left-hand side, please note that there is a message for cross-country kids or anyone else who would like to be involved in a sport for next semester, like archery. Please make sure to come in at lunch, recess tomorrow. So eat your lunch and then come in for recess tomorrow so that you can retake your third attempt on your essential standard of greatest common factor, least common multiple. That way, when we do grade checks on Thursday, you'll be passing. So please make sure that you're ready for that quiz tomorrow at recess and that you come in so that you can make up your grade and make sure that you're passing for that grade check, because math will be included, not like last time. Okay? All right, so in your table of contents, please write down unit rate and ratios, and that's going to be page 13. Yesterday we worked on unit rate with the tape, but today I'll show you the other way, kind of more mathematical way to do it, and you can choose whichever one works for you. All right, so go ahead and turn to page 13, please. Write down 13 at the bottom. Today is 9/19, and of course this is unit rate and ratios. Okay. And remember from yesterday, this is an essential skill, so please make sure that you play the games or watch the videos if there's any questions or if you're not sure if you're doing it right, okay? Because this is a part of that 60%. The only word that I really want to make sure that we review is unit rate. Okay, remember that's how much something is when you have one of the other thing, okay? And remember, you have to figure out the unit rate in order to do anything with finding equivalent ratios and rates, okay? So unit rate is when you have one. And remember, you get unit rate by dividing, okay? So you find the unit rate by dividing, and that's what you get when you have one of something. Okay. Just to review, we need to make sure that we always have the same thing on the top and the bottom when we write out our ratios. For instance, if I'm going to compare the amount of pens I have with the amount of pencils, okay, and I need to change that amount, I have to make sure in my new ratio or rate, I put pens on top again and pencils on the bottom. I cannot change it. I can't put pencils on the top and pens on the bottom. Okay, it has to stay in the same order. Okay, step 1 is finding your ratio. Okay, in life, and most of the time here in class, you will not be given just a ratio on a piece of paper. It comes more in the form of like a story problem. So the first thing you need to do is you need to figure out what is the ratio from the story problem. So I'll use our example that we worked with yesterday. It was that I got a $100 check from working 10 hours. How much money will I make if I work 15 hours? Okay. So my ratio would be $100 to 10 hours. So I'm comparing dollars and hours, right? 100 to 10. Okay, so that's my ratio, and I'm done with step 1. Step 2, now I need to set up the unknown ratio. Okay, and this is a little different from yesterday. We didn't have the unknown ratio. We just used the tape to help us see our answer. Okay, so on this one, our unknown ratio, I write my known ratio, which of course is 110. And then my unknown ratio is now I need to work 15 hours. So remember, hours is on the bottom. So 15 is on the bottom. And I want to know how much money I'll make. So my unknown part is the amount of money that I'll make. Okay. You can have the unknown part at the top or the bottom. Okay, but I just put a question mark there. Sometimes you might see it with an X, meaning we know something goes up there, but we don't know what. I like to put a question mark. Okay, step 3. Now we need to find the unit rate. Okay, and remember, we know this ratio, and we find the unit rate by dividing. So I would see how many times does 10 go into 100. And of course, we know that 10 times 10 is 100. And so the answer 10 is the unit rate. Okay. Step 4 is I set up my rates or set up my ratios. Okay, so I have 100 to 10, which equals $10 for 1 hour. Remember, that's my unit rate that I found in step 3. And that equals my unknown rate. So something over 15 hours. Okay. And my last step, step 5, is going to be to multiply with my unit rate. Okay, so my unit rate is 10 to 1. My unknown ratio is something to 15. I need to determine what to multiply by to get my unit rate to 15. So what times 1 is 15? Obviously, it's 15. So I multiply by 15. Okay? What you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. And so 10 times 15 is 150. So I know my answer is 150 for 15 hours. Okay, and that's the answer. Okay. I know that this seems like a lot of steps, but really when you get used to it and kind of in the hang of things, it gets to be much, much quicker and easier. Okay, let's try one more. So if you have more room at the bottom of this page, you can do it there. If not, go ahead and turn your page over to write on the back. Okay. All right, let's see. If I have a picture and someone in the picture is 3 inches tall, okay. However, in real life, they're really 6 feet tall, okay. And the other person in the picture is 4 inches tall. How tall are they in real life? Okay. So there's my story problem. And as you heard, or as you saw, as I was saying my story problem, I kind of found my ratio there and even my unknown ratio as well. Okay. So step 1, find your ratio. I have it right here. 3 inches is equal to 6 feet. Okay. Next, unknown ratio. 4 inches is equal to something. Okay, step 3 is find my unit rate. Well, 3 divided by 6 is obviously 2. So 1 inch equals 2 feet. Okay, And now I multiply